Good evening, my friends. This is Sandylu of Life's Choice Coaching, your transformational business and life coach. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday evening. It is Tuesday, Tuesday, August 13th. And man, time is flying. So I am back from a few weeks of hiatus, right? I wasn't out on vacation. I actually was really working I don't want to say really hard, but I was pretty busy working, which thank God I'm very grateful and blessed to be working. But I really needed some time off. I needed a little break from the show. There's a lot that goes into the show behind the scenes and things like that. So the show has been going on for 2 years, and we have been going on Facebook Live for 2 years. So right now we're looking at moving it actually to possibly YouTube Live instead. We're still exploring our options and seeing what works best. But anyway, thank you for watching. It's been a couple of weeks. A lot has happened in the last couple of weeks. And here in Southern California and around the world. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, and also why this topic is so super important to all of us, really, to every single one of us. I know the post says, and the should I say marketing or advertisement says that what are you going to do for the second half of your life, or what is your second life going to look like, or how do you want your second half of your life to look like? So some of you may not be on your second half yet, and some of you may be approaching the second half, but I do know for a fact that most of my followers, most of the people that watch me on Facebook and even IG and YouTube are actually halfway or almost halfway through their lifespan, right? Or their expected lifespan, right? Because we just never really know how long we're going to live. But given that comment, we never know how long we're going to live, that's like a reason why I feel this topic is super important and really important for us to be open to what I'm going to share and say, and really take this time to take notes and reflect on your own life and reflect on where you are currently in your life, personally and professionally, in your finances, in your health, in your relationships, in your spirituality, if you are having fun and adventure or not. What does it look like, right? So I know in the last couple of weeks a lot has happened, and a lot of loss has happened, right? We had some major tragedies, things that you just never expect. How often do we go to a supermarket or a store or an event or a concert, or just go to the 7-Eleven, right? Just to do the regular day-to-day things, and not even know that could possibly be the last day that we live, because we were at that place at that single moment, at that moment. We just never know, right? And I've shared many stories of my experiences, and I shared a short quick video a few weeks ago when I heard about the shootings in El Paso, about my experience of when I got the call when my brother was killed by a random freeway sniper shooting. So I know firsthand what it's like to lose someone in such a traumatic way, in such an awful way, and everything that you experience when you find out, when you are going through the experience in the hospital, when you have to let go because that's the only option you really have that makes sense, and then live the life after, right? The life after you let someone go, after you decide it's time to say goodbye. There's a lot that goes into it. The trauma that we feel, the sadness, the depression. For some people it could even be suicidal thoughts. People that were there might have experienced, will experience PTSD without a doubt. You can see it's not normal for us to see dead people all over the place, and people crying and screaming and blood everywhere. I mean, it's just not normal, right? It's not our normal day to day. Our mind really tries hard to process these things and tries to stay stable until it doesn't. So it's really important when you go through a traumatic experience that you definitely seek therapy, like immediately before it becomes something that takes over your entire life. And you don't want that, because all you're doing is giving power to that person who violated you or your loved one, or in some awful off away, right? So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about our life. You know, it's so important for us to be present to where we are in our life. As I pre-launched my program, My Appraisal, I've had a lot of conversations with my clients as well as other people, regarding, you know, our age, right, our time frame. I'm 45, and will be 46, God willing, in October, and I'm looking at like, wow, you know, like I'm halfway through my life. You know, people are living to 90, 100, past 100, right? And then some people are unexpectedly either getting really ill and passing away, or some traumatic accident, freak accident experience, something happens where they lose their life early, right? But we just never know. We never know we're going to be that person that gets sick and dies young. We don't know we're going to be that person who you know, walks out the door and gets run over, something traumatic, unexpected happens, or, you know, a victim of terrorism, or we just never know. Or you don't know if you're going to be that person that lives to be 100, right? So we don't know. We don't know. If there's one thing we know for sure, though, is that we are going to die. We all are going to die, and that's a fact. And there's no way around it, and it's inevitable. And the truth is, I love life, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to live forever, right? But I definitely want to live fully, and I want to live out loud. And so I wanted to talk to you about this because I want you to live fully, and I want you to live out loud, and I want you to take this time to really check in with yourself and see how you are currently living, and start choosing, be in the space of choosing how you want to live the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, 40, 50 years of your life, because we're only halfway, you know. So I'm going to touch on a few different things, and please remember to share and comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I'm pretty close to the camera, so I can see the comments as they come, but I'm going to check into my tablet only because I want to make sure I don't miss any messages. So excuse me for a moment while I look for my own self on my tablet. Because that seems to be the way I can be online. And anyways, it's a technical thing. But I hope that you guys are creating an extraordinary life. I hope that you are really stepping into what it is that you want for the rest of your life. Hello, everyone who's watching. I just see Leticia Guevara. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, young lady. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. It looks like you got various cakes and a lot of celebrations. So that, you know, may God bless you with many, 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 many more years of health, to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. And thank you for watching and for sharing my posts. I appreciate it. So here I am. I'm watching myself. Thank you. I'm struggling with the lighting, but anyway, it is what it is. It's not about the lighting. It's not about the lighting, but let's talk real talk. Let's get some real conversation going here. So right now, so everybody that's here, or for the most part, people that usually watch my show, and I don't care how young you are or how old you are, really, this really applies to you. But I am speaking even more so and more directly to those people that are halfway through their life, that are either you're in midlife crisis mode, or you might hit into mid-crisis mode, or you don't necessarily have to go to midlife crisis. You just have to be in midlife and be midlife enjoying time, right? It's really a matter of choice and perspective, and gratitude. Without those things, you know, with those things, everything is good or bad, right? So you decide. So I want you to think, you know, first of all, there's people that are alive that live like they're dying. And when I say that, is like they are not growing, they are not evolving, they are not setting goals, there's no vision for what's next. They are simply existing. So when you are just in existing mode, you are really just waiting to die, because there's nothing to look forward to, nothing to you know, to advance your life in any form or way. So consider, are you one of those people that are in midlife and are stagnant, that are stuck, that are not doing anything, that became complacent. Like, there's nothing wrong with complacency, but complacency for so long eventually becomes depression, it becomes anxiety, it becomes sadness, and it becomes sickness, and and so on and so forth. And then now you have a lot of reasons why now you're stuck at home, or you're stuck feeling sick. So it's really important that that complacency is for a minimal period of time, and then you start setting goals and start creating different things in your life. And look, it doesn't mean you need to create a goal to make X amount of dollars to be a millionaire or to be a multimillionaire or whatever. And it doesn't mean that your goal has to be about a new career or whatever. It's up to you what those goals are. You decide what you want. If you think about it, midway in our life, midlife, whatever you want to call it, second half, the second act, like J-Lo's movie, it's up to us what we want. I mean, we're older, we're wiser, we've already some of us have went through hell and back, right? A few times, some of us even, and we are resilient, and we are strong, and we are intelligent, and we are wise, and if we are open to the possibilities, the second half could be the most amazing time of your life. It's really up to you. So right now there's a lot of transition, there's a lot of transition. And so now there's also people that are ill, and they're terminally ill or very ill. They don't know. It's like a hit or miss. You don't know if they're going to make it or not. And wish that they had the opportunities that we have, or that they could be as healthy as we are. And yet we have this advantage, and we're not doing anything about it. Something to really think about. It's not about comparing, but just knowing that we have this opportunity to keep living, to keep moving forward, to create goals, to create an extraordinary future for ourselves, for our life, for our community. And we might not be taking advantage and doing something with that. When someone else would would do anything, not die, would do anything really to be able to have this that we do have. And then there's people that are living fully, right? There's people that are fully living, and they are taking on this new part of their life, the second half of their life. And so I'm going to talk about all these few transitions that some people might be experiencing right now. And if you're not going through them yet, you might be going through them soon. Or maybe you're already past that, but this is a good opportunity to check in with yourself. So, like I said, as I work with people and focus on my appraisal program, these things are all coming up, right? These things are really coming up, and how people are really living, because it is a deep dive into how you're living your life, in every aspect of your life. And I won't lie to you, it's very personal, and we go very deep, but you get a lot of work done just even in that journey. But, right now, there's people that are empty nesters. Their kids are finally leaving home. Their kids are finally leaving home, and now either they are single parents, or they are a couple, and maybe don't know exactly what to do with yourselves, right? You don't know what to do with yourself. You're so used to being mom, and you're used to being dad, that you don't know what it's like to just be you. For some of you, because maybe you became a parent really young, or maybe because you never had individuality, or you never actually focused on making sure that no matter whether you had a partner or no partner, whether you had kids or no kids, that you really had some level of independence, some level of self-love, some level of security of oneself, independence, right? So now that your kids are gone, you don't know what to do with yourself, because you look in the mirror and you don't know who you are. Okay, this happens. It's not right, wrong, good or bad, but it is. It happens. This is more common than you even think, than you can even imagine. I come in across these people all the time in my coaching practice. And it's okay. It's okay. So I'm here to tell you, it's okay. You are not alone. You're not the only one going through this. This is very common. However, because it is very common, there's certain things that become common of what people do after. So one of the things that some people do sometimes when they are single is they will easily attach themselves to someone else, or they'll be seeking a partner desperately, because they don't know how to be by themselves. And that is definitely one of the unhealthiest things that you can do for yourself, because you might settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole cake, right? You deserve the whole cake. So it's important that you are mindful of where you are and focus on building yourself up as an individual, as a person. your love for yourself, your self-worth. You know, it's important to know who you are, what you want, and what's important to you. Those three things are super duper important as an individual. And if you want to go into a relationship, these three things are super duper important, because you will choose based on these things, right? Who you are, what you want, and what's important to you. And then the fourth one, which is the biggest one, and this will definitely make sure you don't choose people that are not within your that will not meet your needs, your wants, and your desires, is your self-love and self-worth, right? Your self-love and your self-worth will determine what you choose and what you don't choose. So if you question your self-love and your self-worth, if you're not sure who you are, if you're not sure what you want, and you're not sure what's important to you, then do not seek to be in a relationship just yet. Okay, not to say that it's you can't, but you are you're a disaster waiting to happen. Like, let me just put it that way, right? I'm putting it nicely, but those things are super duper important if you are in a if you are single and you are and became an empty nester. Now you're trying to figure your own self out. It's very important that you know who you are, what you want, what's important to you, that you have your own hobbies, that you have your own goals, that you have your own vision and dreams of your vision of your life, etc. All those things are super important in making sure that you create an extraordinary second half of your life. You don't want the second half of your life to be the time of your life where now you're suffering and you are depressed and you're having anxiety, or you find yourself in an abusive relationship and a narcissistic relationship, any of that kind of stuff, right? When you don't find yourself in these relationships where you don't get to be self-expressive, that you don't get to be authentic, that you don't get to be yourself, where you got to give up things that you want that are important to you, people that are important to you, relationships that are important to you, your relationship with yourself, because you didn't work on yourself before you went out and sought a relationship. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're a couple and you're an empty nester, consider the following. If you are a couple, then you might have gotten used to just everything is about the kids. Okay, you might have, right? Not everybody does this, but let's be honest, the majority of the people do. Majority of parents make it all about the kids, and it's so important. And not that it's a bad thing, right? I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but forget to nurture the relationship along the way. They lose the spark, they lose the interest for each other, they lose the friendship. All these things happen sometimes when everything is focused on the children and the relationship is not consistently nurtured and evolving, right? Because that's also very important. So if you are a couple and you are finding yourself as an empty nester, now you got to look at yourself as again, checking with yourself as individuals. Who am I? What do I want? And what's important to me? And so that you can step into self-love and self-worth if you're not there already. If you are, awesome. If you are not, then it's definitely something to start working on or working towards. Usually when we question our self-love or self-worth, it's because we have gone through some experiences and we made up a story about ourselves, right? It's because maybe we made mistakes, maybe we regret things, we feel shame, we feel guilt. All these different kind of things are what causes usually, maybe because we measure our worth because what's in our bank account, our career, our education. I mean, we make up all kinds of crazy stuff sometimes, and we lose our worth because we base it on those things. So if you are a couple, it's really important to start looking at, like, what do we want as a couple for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? If you are in your 40s, you could both live up to 45. I mean, to 80, 90, 100, right? So what do you guys want to create as a couple for the second half of your life? What is it going to look like? Is it going to be fun and adventure? Is it going to be passion and sex? Is it going to be exploring? Is it going to be more education as individuals, as a couple? Is it going to be you're going to go on a Winnebago and travel the world and leave your jobs for a year, and what is it going to be, right? So it's important to set goals, maybe for the beginning of the empty nesting, and if you guys are already really good, right? You have your individuality, you still have a relationship that's great. Well, maybe you're just gonna be happy to be walking around the house bare butt naked, doing all kinds of things, because now you don't have any kids there to interrupt or to limit what you could do and how long you could do it for, right? And that's okay. So you might want to just like chill for a little while, right? Relax, enjoy the home, enjoy the peace and the calm and the quiet, and just each other, and eat out and take out and all these things, because you don't have kids at home and you don't have to worry about them anymore, and now it's just all about you two. You can do that, but at the end, but then eventually it's really important that you sit down and have those conversations, like, what do we want to do in the next couple of years? What do we want to do in the next 40, 50, 60 years? Because we are only halfway through our life, right? So you can create whatever you want in your relationship. I mean, it could be the most extraordinary time, the most amazing time. Just consider the following. Even if the kids already left the house, they want to know that you are okay as a couple. They want to know that you are happy as a couple. And if you are a single person, and your kids left the house, they also want to know that you're okay as an individual. They want to know that you're happy as an individual. So remember that regardless that they left the home, it's still important to them, your well-being, okay? And it's always going to be important to them, your well-being. So be responsible for yourself. Be responsible and ownership for your own joy, for your own happiness, for your own future, okay? It's really important that you really take a hold of it and embrace it and celebrate it and be in gratitude of the fact that you have this opportunity. Now there's people that are retiring, and I say retirement because some people are might have had government jobs, or peace officers, those kind of jobs where you can actually retire after 20 years. So some of you actually started in your 20s, so now you are about to retire and you're still really young, right? So now it's like, what's next? So consider what is next for you. What is the second half going to be for you? I know in fact, recently, one of the people that I did my appraisal with, she just retired a year ago, and she's really just living it up and enjoying it, and that's wonderful. And we had some conversations, and now she set some goals that she wants to work on. So it's important that you enjoy that retirement, right? And then again, for some people, because you're so young, maybe you want a second career, maybe you want to start a new career, or you want to open a business, or you want to become an entrepreneur, but now you have a pension and now you have income, so maybe you don't have to work as hard, or maybe you're going to work as hard because you just want more and you want to do more because you like that challenge. And it's up to you. You decide. You know what you want. The main thing here is to not settle, and this is for everybody across, right? Don't settle for the life that you don't want, for one. Just because we're older doesn't mean that we can still have the life we want. Maybe it's going to look different because certain things, obviously, when you're younger are different when you're older. For example, a woman's biological clock, eventually it runs out, and then now your child bearing years are no longer existent, right? So it changes. However, maybe you can actually adopt a child, right? So there's always another way, right? If we are open to the possibilities, but we can have our life any way we want, or all the reasons why not. We can live our life by design, by our choice. And I really want you to understand that. I really want you to understand that. I want you to own it, to be excited about the fact that you are older, wiser, and you can create whatever you want. It's never too late until we're like 6 feet under, or we become ashes, because there's other options. But it is definitely a choice. So if you find yourself where you're about to retire, you're retiring, or you retired, consider that it's important for you to still set goals, to have hobbies, to keep learning and growing and evolving, and even more importantly, have fun, right? You didn't work all that time so that you could retire and be bored, or feel sad, or lonely, or have a pity party for yourself. Do something fun, do something extraordinary. Put yourself out there and live your life fully and live out loud. Halfway through your life doesn't mean it's over. It's only half. You still have a whole other half that you can create whatever you want. Whatever you want. One of the awesome things as an entrepreneur that I've seen is that I've seen a lot of men and women even more women I think I've seen that have decided to become entrepreneurs, who have decided to start businesses at an older age. Now, I didn't say old, okay? Let's be clear. Older age than what people used to before, right? And that's also another conversation, right? Now our, people joke about it. The 40s are the new 30s, the 30s are the new 20s, etc. But this demographic of 40s and 50s is not the same that it used to be generations before us. We are a lot, and not to insult anybody, but we are a lot more youthful. We are more up to the times, and I think that social media has a lot to do with it as well. A lot of us look a lot younger, right? We're still setting goals. We're doing things, right? We are moving and shaking, and your kids, people with kids, their kids start looking like their sibling, because you look youthful, more energetic. You're hiking, you're running, you're going dancing, you're going clubbing, you go to bars, you take art classes. I mean, they're active. And so generations before us was not like that. It was very different. So we are definitely a different generation. Our demographics very unique, and there's still a lot of stuff to learn from our demographic. And in fact, because of that, I realized that dating in our age ranges could be really challenging as well. So we're working on something. In fact, on, I believe it is September 19th. September 19th of this year, we are having an actually event. My Life Warrior Productions, we are having an event for singles. And people in relationship. We're going to talk about dating and relationships, and it's going to be in the city of Whittier for people ages 38 to 53. So men and women. So keep that in mind. I'll be posting this. This will be going out on social media this week. So keep your eye out. There'll be an early bird special, so you could purchase a good ticket and get some really great tips and information, and possibly meet somebody wonderful, right? But anyway, if you're retiring, start thinking about what you want the next phase of your life to look like, because it could look like whatever you want. Don't forget, okay? Now, if you, so this is another comment, this is another thing that happens. There's people that have children and they stay in the relationship until their children turn 18 and move out of the house. Like they wait, they are like dying. They're miserable with each other, And yet they will play it off sometimes. Sometimes they won't, which makes no sense to say if you're not going to play it off, if you ask me. And yes, that's a judgment and opinion. But they stay until the kids turn 18, because they don't want the kids to suffer, or they don't want the kids to struggle, or they don't want, they don't want it to affect their kids' schooling, etc. So they don't split up until their kids are 18. Well, that's like an entirely different topic, but often kids say, after the separation, is like, why didn't they just do it before? Like, we were all miserable. It would have been better if they would have just split up. This is a very common thing that happens. But now your kids are 18, they moved out of the house, you are like packed and ready to go. It happens, okay? This happens. I'm not mentioning it just because, but these things happen. And now you're in the second half of your life. You might have an identity crisis. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you want. You don't know what's important to you. But you definitely don't want to be with that person ever again or anymore. Like, that's it. You've done. You're over it, right? And now you got to start the divorce process. Now you got to start the separation process, the financials, the house, etc. And it could get really messy. So I want to say that it's really important to work on yourself and build yourself as an individual, as a person. If you're heading in that direction, if that's what you're choosing, because you want to be as solid and grounded as possible in the change and the transition, because it is a lot of change and transition. So it's one thing that you're married and your kids move out, and now your husband and you work together and or your spouse and you work together and create the future, right? But when your house is not going to be the same house, when your kids are gone, your spouse is not going to be that person that's there anymore. When you're going to wake up somewhere else, when everything in your life completely is no longer the way you knew it, it's going to affect you in a huge way. Now, some people go really extreme and become really wild, men or women, and they're freely out there and having the time of their life, and that's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. But they forget to focus on creating a foundation for themselves of like where they're going to live permanently, what do they want to create in their life moving on in the future, just things that they want to build themselves up. So now they're out there in the wild. We're out there in the wild, and now you can easily get strayed away by the wrong person, right? You can easily get strayed away by the wrong person, get caught up in the physical attraction of someone, in physical relationships only, and maybe that's not what you want, or you're not ready for. You're not mentally prepared for that kind of a relationship. So you want to make sure that you work on building yourself. So if you choose that, once that 18 hits and the kids are gone, that you're both choosing to separate, or you've decided that's it, I'm done, then focus on building yourself as a person, focus on building yourself as an individual, and then start planning what your second half is going to look like, right? What is it going to look like? And remember, just because we get divorce, it doesn't mean that we have to treat the other person like an enemy. Or just know that the longer you hold off on stupid crap, because I hear this all the time, people that are going through divorce torture each other for stupid things because they want to control and they want to hurt the other person, they want to get back at them. And let's be honest, some people really do some really awful, hurtful things. So the ego wants to defend, and the ego wants payback and all these things. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is prolonging your healing, and you're moving on and being free, and being free. So be mindful of what you're going to be fighting for, and what is not worth fighting for. Because at the end of the day, you're just holding your own self hostage, and not only is everyone else struggling and suffering, which is probably what you want to do, you are making your life more difficult than it needs to be, when you could be free, living and creating the life that you want. So consider those things. So any questions, anybody? I know I'm seeing you all watching. Hello, Susie, Baco, Liz, Raquel, Tanya, Abraham, Diane, Lisette, Angela, Ramirez. So thank you all for watching. Remember to share. You're watching Transform Your Life with Sandylu and Friends, and we are back on every Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As of now, eventually we will be likely going to be moving to live YouTube, but for now, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Sandylu Guerrero, so you could just look up my name, Sandylu Guerrero, and you will see all my past interviews and videos. And I'm still working on uploading more, but make sure that you watch them, listen to them. There's a lot of inspiring stories, a lot of motivating stories, a lot of resilient people. You can learn some great tips about life and business and entrepreneurship if that's what you are interested in. But there's so much great content in there. So make sure that you watch, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Sandylu Guerrero. So Sandylu Guerrero, look me up. All right. And of course, Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Sandylu Guerrero. Twitter, Sandylu Guerrero. LinkedIn, Sandylu Guerrero, in case you didn't figure that one out. But follow me and share. And if you're interested in finding out more about what I do, if I could support you, if you're ready to take your life on to another level, if you have goals and you're ready to create an extraordinary life for yourself, make more money, make more money, feel happy, or fall in love with yourself, find the love of your life, create an extraordinary business, increase your sales, reach out to me. But anyway, let's talk about now. I'm looking, there's a little bug in front of me. So think about these things as you are transitioning. So make sure that you share with other people. Please share. You never know who needs to hear what we're talking about today. Thank you, Lisa. She says, love this. I love this. Made perfect sense. Thank you. I'm glad that it makes sense to you. I see this all the time, and some of these experiences I've had on myself, but I see this all the time, and I've been coaching for a very long time. In fact, 9 years now. And it's been a lot of growth, right? I've learned so much, and I'm always learning, and I realize oh my gosh, I just love when I learn new things, right? I love when I learn new things. I learn I've learned so many things, experienced so many extraordinary experiences, but it's really important for us to take the time for ourselves and to grow and to develop ourselves and invest in ourselves. Like Abraham Lopez says, yep, one of the best investments made was getting coaching from Sandylu. Awesome, Abraham, and I'm happy to see that you're doing great, and I'm looking forward to your continued coaching as always. But yes, we got to invest in ourselves. We got to invest in our health, and we got to invest in our well-being, you know, and our well-being is self-love, self-worth, and we got to invest. If we want to grow in our businesses, we got to invest in those things. It's not gonna, there's only so much you can do without investing, but you got to invest, you know, financially. You got to invest time. You got to invest blood, sweat, and tears to create the life that we want, and we got to be willing to do it because we are worthy of having what we want, right? We are worthy of having what we want. So I'm looking at time. What time do we got? All right. Oh my gosh, time flies. Time flies when you're having fun or not. So anyway, I want you to consider the following. So in my appraisal program, and this is and I've done, Abraham, we've done some levels of this kind of this work, but in the program we focus on certain things, and one of them is health, right? So considering that we are in our mid years, right, in our midlife, consider how much we've done to our body, right? Consider what we've done to ourselves, right? I think about it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I drank soda for most of my life. I ate sweets for most of my life. I have not exercised for most of my, looking at my body, looking at my life. So look at your life right now. Look at what you have done to your body. You gotta be honest with yourself. Look, I think it's really cool that all these fashion designers have created the cutest clothes, the clothes that fits all shapes and sizes, and I think it's awesome because everybody has the right to look cute, right? To look beautiful, to feel sexy, to feel attractive. But at the end of the day, are we healthy? Like, that's the real thing. That's the real thing to look at. And I might piss people off for saying that, but at the end of the day, like for me, I'm obese. I'm fat. I'm considered to be fat. In fact, obese is technically speaking. So either I continue in that path or I do something different. So just know you're going to be seeing some changes. But look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Be honest with yourself. Are you healthy? Is the way you are living right now, the way you eat right now, the way you sleep right now, your exercise or no exercise, your emotional health, do you meditate? Do you feel stressed all the time? Do you feel sad all the time? Do you feel happy all the time? Like, look into yourself and ask yourself these things, because it's really important, because this is going to determine what the next years are going to look like, the second half of your life is going to look like. Because right now it's really this is a time where our life, it's very critical that if we haven't lived a healthy lifestyle, that we switch that button and start running with it. Because if we don't make those changes, we are going to regret it, and even then we don't know if it's going to catch up to us, right? Already. So we never know. So now is the time to make those changes, to be honest with yourself, to look in the mirror and start making those changes. Look, I love eating sweets. Like, that's my biggest thing. It's so hard, you know, but the more we do it, it becomes a norm, right? We got to build that muscle. Like, we got to build that muscle of healthy eating, the muscle of, you know, calming my mind and meditating, the muscle of I want to run and walk and I just love to exercise, right? But it's not going to happen by not doing it. So you got to find what works for you. For some people is the hardcore boot camps. For some people is walking on their own. For some people is calm, quiet yoga classes. For some people it's videos at home, you know. For some people it's dancing or a Wii game, right? So find what works for you. You're not going to know what works for you that you can stay consistent with if you don't explore and try different things. So keep that in mind. So how is your life going to look in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years based on how you're living right now? And if it doesn't look good, then start making those changes, okay? Start making those changes. Now is a good time as any, okay? Now, consider the following, and I know I'm looking at time, so my apologies. I have to keep track of time. But consider the following, and same questions, you know, in the next half of my life, in the second half of my life, in the second act of my life, What do I want to be, my love life to look like with my partner, whether I already have one or not? What do I want it to look like, right? What kind of things do I want to do with my partner? Um, are we gonna be like the movie The Notebook and love each other to the very last breath, literally holding hands and die on our deathbed together because we created such an extraordinary life together and we enjoyed every bit of it, and because we were best friends and we had a life of adventure and we raised kids, and now we really nurtured our relationship and we grew together. And what is it going to look like? What is your love life going to look like? What is it that you want to create? Again, remember, you got to start with number one. Who am I? What do I want? What's important to me? And then my self-love and my self-worth, right? My self-love and my self-worth are key, because if you have those things, then everything else falls in place, right? But you got to remember that your love life could look many different ways. And at the end of the day, though, the most important relationship that you will ever have is the one that you have with yourself. So keep that in mind, okay? That is always going to be the most important relationship, because the truth is, not everybody's like The Notebook where they both die together. So the truth is, either our partner will leave us, or they're going to die. So we're going to end up alone if we go first, right? So keep that in mind, that at the end of the day, you're still going to have you. And wherever you go, there you are. So take care of you. Nurture your relationship with yourself. Find out what you want, what's important to you. Know your worth. Love yourself as perfectly and imperfect that you are. Consider, what do you want to do traveling? What kind of things do you want to do in the next 40-50 years, right? Do you want to do more traveling? Do you want to start a second career? Do you want to go back to college? Do you want to go back to school? Do you want to learn a trade? Do you want to start a side business? What are the kind of things you want to do? Maybe you want to even foster parent. There's a lot of kids that need support, that need a home, a loving, caring home. And maybe you just find having kids at home super fulfilling, and that is your thing. It's what comes natural, it's what fulfills you, and you have the perfect home for that, and you might consider doing something like that. Consider, what kind of adventures do you want to have? Are there things that you want to go? You want to go on an African safari, you want to go on a Caribbean cruise, you want to go backpacking in Europe. What do you want the second half to look like? Okay, I'm throwing things out there because I want you to think about these kind of things. Sometimes we are so caught up in our day-to-day on autopilot that we don't think past today or tomorrow or maybe the next month, right? So I want you to start thinking 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, because they come just like that. I mean, shit, I can't even believe that I'm going to be 46 in a couple of weeks. Months. October. Couple of weeks, same thing. Time flies. So we got to be purposeful and live on purpose, and with the purpose that's even more extraordinary and amazing, right? And we all have a different purpose, right? Some people have the purpose that is about being of service to others and changing the world, and some people, our purpose is to raise the kids that are going to change the world. It's different for everybody, but if it keeps coming to you, and it keeps coming to you, and that passion keeps coming to you, and it's the one thing fulfills you, maybe it doesn't give you the money you want, but hey, there's always a way. Trust me, there's always a way to monetize your passion, and you don't necessarily always have to monetize it. You just got to make sure that you're sharing those gifts, because they fulfill you as much as they fulfill others, and they make a difference in your life as much as they make a difference in someone else's life. And now so consider growth. What are the things? Anthony Robbins says, if you are not learning, you are dying. And I really truly believe that if you're not learning, think of it this way. This is us, right, on a norm, in a space of complacency. It doesn't mean that it's bad. You could be living good, everything could be okay. But if you are not learning, and you are not growing, and you are not doing anything to continuously develop your brain and keep evolving, you start going this way, right? So he says, if you're not learning, you're dying, but you go this way. Now, if you're learning, you're constantly going in an uphill, right? You're going up, you're learning, you're filling your cup. But if you are not in a space of growth and learning, then it makes it hard for you to even start connecting with people. So some of you may know I have real estate and property management background. I worked in the low income housing for seniors for a couple of years, and there was something that I saw, and I like to observe patterns and what people do, people's habits, and I started noticing certain things. So the people that were very unhappy, that were sad, the people that were sad, that were depressed, that nobody wanted to see them, that were grouchy and moody and sometimes even scary, were the people that only focused on their ailments, right? Their illness, and focus on all the negative things and being upset at everybody that don't visit them, or all the things that they don't have. And they also were the people that didn't know anything about texting, social media, video games, new music, that kind of stuff. So they stopped relating to the current world right now. They stopped relating. So relationships are about relating. So when you disconnect because you stop learning, now you stop relating. So now when we learn, when we have things in common, we connect, right? We find a place where we connect. But when we don't find it, then it's kind of hard, right? I don't usually want to hang around with people where I feel like I'm not connecting, right? I'm not connecting. It's exhausting, it's tiring. I don't feel like I'm connecting. I just don't really want to be around it. It just doesn't appeal to me, right? Time is precious. We want to be with people that we feel fulfilled from, that we connect with, that we feel inspired by, or anything like that, right? We want to feel good. Now, the people that I saw that were happy, that were active, that were still looking for boyfriends and things like that, and I'm talking about men and women 75, 80, 85, that way they still, okay, this is the other thing, they would still fix their hair, they would cut their hair. One of the men used to dye his hair, okay, he refused to go gray, he dyed his hair. And one of them loved to go dancing, so he went dancing like almost every day that he possibly could. The other girls were all the ladies, and I say girls because they act like cute girls, after this man. But it was so interesting. But they text, they knew Facebook, because at this time Facebook had already came out and they were working on it. I had them learn how to play Wii, so I had the company buy a Wii game so they could learn how to play Wii and connect. And one of them was super happy because she went to visit her grandchild and she was able to play Wii with him. And she even said, hey, she offered to play with him, and he was kind of like weirded out because it was his grandma and thought she wasn't gonna know. Well, she blew him away because he was not expecting her to know how to play Wii, but she did. She was able to connect with her grandson because she was hip to what he was into. So we want to stay. In order for us to stay young, and look, it's not about refusing to age, it's about aging gracefully, aging happy, healthy, and wealthy. And it looks different for everybody, but you know what your happy, healthy, and wealthy looks like. You got to be honest with yourself. What does your happy, healthy, and wealthy look like, so that you age in such a way that it's priceless, that you wouldn't have had it any other way, because you chose it. Like this time, this moment, these years that we are in the middle of our life, our second half, our second act, our midlife, we made choices to create an extraordinary rest of our life. We made choices to change our health. We made choices to work on our self-love and our relationship with self. We made choices to get the support, guidance, coaching, counseling, therapy, whatever we needed, so that we can be healthy in our mind, healthy in our heart, healthy in our body, so that we can create whatever we want. It doesn't, you can have the most thriving business, but if you don't have that mind, that if in your mind you're still dealing with things, or struggling with things, or not connecting with people, those kind of things eventually will catch up, and you can even risk losing everything. So it's really important that we invest in our well-being. And look, I'm a coach. I'm a transformational business and life coach. You don't have to hire me. You can hire someone else. You can reach out to me to see if I can support you, but make sure that you do something, because the next level, we got this far because of who we are, what we've experienced, what we've learned until this moment. But sometimes the next level, what's next for us, the bigger goal, the bigger dream, the bigger vision, is going to require another way of being, another way of doing things, another way of living, right? So consider that you don't need to do it alone. But anyway, I think one of the main things that I want you to think of and take with you for this evening is set goals of what you want to create for yourself in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Like, what do you really want it to look like? What is your retirement gonna look like? I love what I do as a coach, and I love speaking at events, and I love facilitating workshops, and I love having it all in my own schedule. So I don't I my goal is to keep loving it until I am no longer here, without the intention of having to retire because I have to retire, type of thing. So create a life that you don't feel like you have to uh, um, retire, or you can't retire, right? You have to stay in the job because now you can't afford not to, right? So it's a choice, right? But set goals. Don't never stop setting goals as an individual and as a couple. Never, ever, ever stop setting goals. That will keep you motivated. That will make you keep you healthy. That'll keep you growing. That'll keep you connected. Never stop learning about the new thing, the new technology, the new music, the new movies, the new trends. You don't have to, I'm not saying you have to dress a certain way or do certain things, but be familiar with them, learn them, understand them, so that you can always stay connected and relating to the people in your life, specifically as our younger generations, so that you always have that connection with them because you are hip to what's up. So set goals. So if there's anything that you take from tonight, is make sure that you continuously set goals as an individual and as a couple. Set goals. It's really important that you do that so that you can always have something to look forward to, and that you can be excited and celebrate as you accomplish all these things. You can have your life any way you want, or all the reasons why not. It's really up to you what you want to create for yourself. No one could do it for you. No one could do it for you. I want to say thank you, everybody that's been watching. Robert, Sandra, Shreya, another powerhouse, 2 powerhouses right there. Thank you for watching. But consider those things. Consider what I'm sharing with you. That if you really start being in ownership of your time, right? Time is it's the most precious commodity. It's the most precious thing in the world. You will never get it back. So thank you for taking your time to watch this video, to be on with me live, and for those that watch it on the replay, thank you for taking the time to listen to my my sharing, my knowledge, my experience. And I really hope that you look into your life and you look into yourself and ask yourself the questions: what do I want? What's important to me? Who am I? And what are my goals? What is it that I want to create in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years of my life? Because we are only halfway, my friends. We are only halfway, my friends. So it's not the time to throw in the towel. It's not the time to let yourself just get old, bitter, and ugly, and mad, and angry, and disconnected. No, this is the time to really start living it up. It's the time to live fully, because either you already know who you are, or you know that you're ready to do what you need to do to work on yourself and your identity and who you are, what you want, and what's important to you. And even because you get to work on self-love and self-worth. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, guys. I'm starting to lose my voice here, but I'm glad to be back. I'm happy to be back, and I thank you everybody who's been watching. I have projects coming up, so just keep in mind. It will be September. In September, we're gonna have our first event for it's actually called Sandylu Live Talks. Dating and relationships, uncensored and unscripted, and you'll have the opportunity to have Q&A, and some coaching and guidance, and the possibility and opportunity to meet other singles. And then from there we will go and have drinks after somewhere. We're still working out the details, but plan on being there. It's going out this week, and it's going to be in the city of Whittier, and we're gonna have an early bird ticket price, so make sure you take advantage. If not, well, it's gonna go up, but it's still gonna be a great opportunity for you to learn some specific skills and work through some of those things that you might be challenged with, right, in your relationship or in your dating life. So keep that in mind. So that's gonna be on September 19th. Yes, September 19th. And all the details and information will be coming out. And it's under my production company, Life Warrior Productions. So make sure that you join us. And then also, I'm going to be launching the appraisal as a group coaching program with a couple of sessions. I believe it's 5 sessions and then one-on-one with me. So you will have 5 group sections, one on me. It is still a pre-launch phase because this is a pre-launch phase of the group coaching. So it is going to be some ridiculous price again. It's ridiculous. I still haven't put it out there. I'm thinking, am I really going to do this again? Am I really going to do this again? But I think I am going to do this again. So so keep that in mind. It's group coaching program. I'll give you the deadline by when you have to sign up. Remember, the early bird catches the worm, so don't miss out on this opportunity to get some great, especially if you're in your second half of your life. This is like the perfect time. If you're in the middle of a major life change, this is a perfect program for you. If you are ready for what's next, or you're not sure what's next, this is a perfect program for you. I absolutely love this program, and it actually is part of a longer program that I have, but I took it out, I dissected it, and I realized that just that alone was amazing. And it's actually part of a book that I'm writing. That's how this whole idea of this my appraisal program came about. And it's about diving deep into your life in 8 core domains of your life, so that you can really see what's working, what's not working, what needs work, what needs attention, and start setting goals and an action plan and time slot it. Put it in your calendar so that make sure that you're getting it done. So it's a full program. I give you everything that you need to make sure that you create what you want now. So it's up to you. But anyways, I'm gonna be putting it out there in the next day or two. So keep your eye out. And it is for men and women, so it's gender neutral. And we're looking at having it between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. on Monday evenings for 5 weeks, and then one-on-one we'll schedule with me to a strategy session. So make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity. But it's a group session, and I'm giving it to you at a ridiculous price because it is on the pre-launch phase. So take advantage. But anyway, guys, I will be here again next week, Tuesday 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Remember to be live. It's always nice to have you on. Share. Make sure you I'll put out the topic and what we'll be talking about, and if we'll be having a guest. Make sure that you share this right now. In fact, share it. I know there's watch parties. Share it. If you are watching it on the replay, if you just joined, watch it from the beginning. This is great content. Doesn't matter how old or young you are. Yes, I focus on the second half, but really it applies to everybody and all times of our lives. So consider those things as you are listening, and remember to share. Sharing is caring. You never know who's listening to this that really needed to hear this. Remember, you can create your life, and I say this over and over and over again because I remember hearing it in my head, and it was just kind of like, I remember hearing it, and it was just like mind blowing, right? Because I thought all these things that I couldn't do, and all these victim stories that I was holding on to, etc. But you can have your life any way you want, or all the reasons why not. You can have your life any way you want, or all the reasons why not. You do have a choice, everyone. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. If you already know you're interested in signing up for my appraisal group coaching program, message me and let me know you're in, and then I'll go ahead and send you more information and get you all registered and sign up so you can take advantage. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Remember, you have the power to choose how you want to live your life from moment to moment. You do have a choice, everyone. Good night. Bye.